Hello and welcome on Thomas Geiger Car. Today with the new Lexus UX, the noble sibling of the Toyota CHR. A car that will compete against Audi Q2, Mercedes GLA, Infiniti QX30 from early next year on. If you're keen to know how this car will perform and not willing to wait another 6 months, join me on my test drive and I'll tell you more about it. The Lexus UX will come with two different powertrains, both based on a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine. The base model will come with that 4-cylinder engine alone, delivering 171 horsepower. The typical Lexus version, a bit more expensive, will come as a hybrid that delivers 178 horsepower. But you may not expect too much because Lexus is still refusing to build a plug-in battery. You can only go a few hundred meters once you press the EV button or while you crawl through the city. If you accelerate or if you go beyond 1 kilometer, maybe 1.5, the petrol engine kicks in again. And that's not the only problem. The car is raising some expectations due to its aggressive design and the sporty seating position that the powertrain could not fulfill. Top speed is 177 kilometers per hour. And acceleration from 0 to 100 takes more than 8 seconds, almost 9 to be precise. So not the most sporty SUV, especially if you look at it and it really gets your heart beating. I think that's a bit of the problem of all the Lexuses. They're too reasonable to be really funny. The interior of the UX is pretty Lexus. If you know the RX, for example, then you know the UX as well. On the first glimpse, it looks very modern. We have the digital display, we have a big screen here, and we have the touchpad here, and we have another addition for radio and audio system to operate it from here. All good, all fine. But if you take a little bit of a closer look, it somehow seems outdated because the big screen is not a touch screen. The only thing that happens is you create fingerprints on the big glossy screen, and to operate you have to do it like with your laptop on that touchpad. Somehow fancy but not really working well, and in the age where everybody's got a smartphone or a tablet computer with a big touchscreen, Lexus is a bit old-fashioned with this non-touch sensitive display in the center console. One of the coolest features is the cockpit. It is digital, but it has a massive ring like in an analog dial. And like in the high-priced Lexus models, you can move that ring and change the design. So if you press that button, that center ring for the rev meter or for the speedo moves from left to right and back. And that's something really cool that I've not seen in any other SUV till now. The back seat is definitely not the place to be in the new Lexus UX. Due to the short wheelbase and the low roofline, it's not the most comfortable place to be. Legroom is limited, headroom is limited, and it's getting pretty tight at the shoulders if you sit here with 2 or even 3 people. 2 adults, short ride, okay. A longer drive with 3 people on the back seat, absolutely a no-go. Even your children will not like it. On the other hand, at least you got 2 power outlets, you got an armrest with 2 cup holders, you got a comfortable headrest. So once you folded yourself into the back, it is somehow okay. But please don't try to get out again. So better take the seat behind the wheel or next to the driver. Seating position in the first row of the Lexus UX is pretty good. You got enough room and you got a really good control of the vehicle. You almost feel like in a sports car due to the high center console, to the bucket seats of the F-Sport model, to the driver-focused cockpit. It really gives you the feeling, I am the commander, I am the pilot. Combined with a pretty low seating position, not as in many other SUVs where you're way above the ground, here you're pretty close to the center of gravity. That also increases the feeling of control, the driver focus, the fun to drive. While the driver is sitting really comfortable and even the back seat is somehow okay, the trunk is really disappointing, especially at the hybrid model, because the floor is really high and Instead of going down below in the basement, there is only storage capacity for small details and stuff like that, and underneath there's the hybrid battery. So overall you got the size of a compact car but a trunk of a small car like the Polo or the Ford Fiesta or the Toyota Aygo, for example. Talking about the design of the Lexus UX, it's got the same size of the Toyota CHR, so almost 4.50 m in length and 2.64 m in the wheelbase. But it's less fancy, some people might say less ugly than the CHR. But compared to Mercedes GLA and Audi Q2, the German small SUVs are somehow pretty boring. This car still looks exciting, edgy, bold, easy to recognize. So for my taste, a perfect mixture between fancy and understated. Thank you for joining me on that first test drive with the new Lexus UX, a car that is a really interesting add-on to the big segment of the small SUVs, especially at the upper end of the price range. With its fancy look and its interesting powertrains and the only hybrid option in the segment, for me it's pretty clear that this small SUV is going to be a big success. Thank you, Tschüsschen, and bye-bye.